Welcome back to the Big Weekend Show. Illegal immigration has obviously become a national emergency, but now there is new government data showing that it may be worsening another crisis. For more on that, we go to Fox News correspondent Brian Llanes. Brian.
Good evening. This is the highest number of homeless people recorded since the federal government started this particular survey in 2007. Primarily, it's driven by people who became homeless for the first time. Just over 653,000 people were experiencing homelessness on a single night in 2023. That is up 12% from 2022. Black Americans continue to disproportionately be impacted, representing half of homeless families with children in America. This is the first time in a decade that family homelessness has increased in the U.S. There are 186,000 people in families with children experiencing homelessness. That is an increase of 16%. The top 5 major cities with the homeless populations are New York City, Los Angeles, Seattle, San Diego, and Denver. New York City saw the largest increase year over year. More than half of the country's homelessness is in 4 states. California, with 28% of the homeless population, more than 181,000 people, followed by New York, Florida, and Washington. California also has the largest population of unsheltered homeless people. There are more than 120,000 people in California living on the streets and on sidewalks. That is nearly 8 times higher than the next highest state with unsheltered homeless people, Florida. Experts say this is all primarily due to extraordinary rent increases this past year.
I think it's a disturbing trend that's been going on for a long time. And, as I said, the main driver of this, relevant to government policy, is that rents for a modest apartment keep going up faster than wages in a modest job. That's what's driving it.
The Department of Housing also blames the winding down of COVID-19 protections like eviction moratoriums, emergency rental assistance, and the end of stimulus payments. Back to you.
Thank you, Brian. Tommy, I want to build on what Brian was reporting there. Hispanics and Latinos, he mentioned that the number of African Americans, 13%, but Latinos and Hispanics are to basically, they attribute 55% of the increase in homelessness. The question is why? The Biden administration just wants to throw more money at this problem. But the Wall Street Journal is reporting, quote, a surge of migrants into shelters in places such as New York, Massachusetts, Chicago, contributed to the homeless record. Can you cure homelessness without addressing the border crisis? How do you keep bailing out the ship when you don't fix the hole in the hull?
Well, it's no surprise when you bring in millions of people and you bring in thousands at once on a daily basis, these people have to go somewhere, and they're going to communities that are already underserved, and they have to be sheltered, they have to be fed, they have to be clothed. And so that's why you're seeing the numbers skyrocket of homelessness, or when they get out of these hotels or they try to find something else to do, they don't know what to do. They've been sold a bill of goods by the criminal organizations and the cartels and the Biden administration, quite frankly. So what do you do with these people? But I would even say, more importantly, what do you do with the American veterans and the other Americans who are experiencing homelessness? Right. And they now are having to fight with resources with people who have no legal right to be here. And now they're on the street and they're cold. So I would tell people that if you continually vote Democrat in your already under-resourced and underserved communities, just know that illegal immigration is going to impact you first. So pay attention to how you vote next time.
Well, we're seeing African Americans in Chicago raising the alarm and saying, wait a minute, we were promised things. We voted for these people to help us, and they're helping other people and taking those resources from us. Griff, I want to play you some sound. This is Democratic mayors suffering the highest homelessness in the country, but this is their approach to immigration. Watch.
Our role here in this city is to provide shelter, education, food, services, all of those services that are important. This is what we've always done, and this is what we're going to continue to do.
We are the village, and we are going to make sure that whoever comes to Chicago, that we're going to take care of them.
We have successfully helped over 10,000 new arrivals to resettle in the area so that new arrivals can get jobs, but importantly, to become integrated into the life of our city.
I saw some integration happening up the block. Griff, you were just down at the border. With the stress these cities are under, they're all broke, they're begging for money. Do you see any change in the tactic at the border from the Biden administration?
Well, I see more coming. Just in the last 24 hours today, Raymond, there were over 11,000 migrant encounters. In Eagle Pass, where I just spent the last 8 days, there were more than 2,500. In a week span last week, there was almost 18,000 in just Eagle Pass. This week, it's going to be a total, probably by the time we get tomorrow's numbers, about 17 or 18,000. Eagle Pass, Texas's population is only 30,000. In 2 weeks span, they've had that cross from dozens of countries. When I was there was a Russian, Iranian, Moroccans, Tunisians. They got 3 Chinese today, and the list goes on. They're coming from all over the world because President Biden said, come, we'll take care of you. And those mayors
but
are
the
not
tactics
helping,
aren't
they're
changing.
trying to accommodate.
They're not trying to stop the deluge, though. That's the key point.
The hole
Katie,
is still in the hole.
Yeah, well, right, exactly. And they won't cure it. I have to play this for you. Gavin Newsom, okay? Now, he wiped away homeless encampments when G showed up because he wanted to put on the dog and look all shiny and new. San Francisco has a drug and homeless epidemic really like nowhere in the country. But Newsom claims it's the Republicans' fault.
Well, I mean, first you own the issues, and then you start to address the issues. But look, they've been on a doom loop about San Francisco ever since Nancy Pelosi became Speaker. Yeah. I mean, remember, California is Nancy Pelosi's the Speaker of San Francisco. You got Kamala Harris, who was a former senator from California. California has outperformed the American economy. It's the tentpole of the American recovery. 27% of all American jobs came from the state just last month. It's the 5th largest economy in the world. And its values are a stark contrast. The difference is daylight and darkness between the Republican Party.
Daylight and darkness, Katie, your response.
Well, first you taught me something new.
Yes.
Putting on the dog. Didn't know about that statement. So thank you for teaching me that. Learn something new every day. Gavin Newsom needed Governor Ron DeSantis to be there to rebut him on all these lies he's saying about California and the reality of the situation there. They're willing to clear out homelessness when it suits their favor, when they want to basically sanitize the reality of what's actually happening. They did it for Joe Biden when he was running for re-election at Union Station. They just did it in San Francisco. But the reality is the reason why homelessness has gone up is because the more money these governments throw at it, the worse it gets, because it's a homelessness industrial complex. There are all these NGOs that benefit from the homelessness problem, and that's why it doesn't go away. It's the same thing with the illegal immigration problem.
And
it comes down to a basic supply and demand problem. When you have too many people who need more resources, things become more expensive and there are more homeless people. And for the mayor of Chicago to brag that they have taken care of 10,000 people, that's 1 day's worth of illegal immigrants coming into this country. Well, good luck.
And the drug epidemic really driving the California problem. That's what fuels the homelessness and all the rest of these ills. That they wanted to legalize drugs, now they have.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.